Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today we have an absolutely zero salt, zero complaints, zero negativity video. I know it's a shocker. So we're here to we're here to talk about Deathseed. Now, this is a little bit overdue, personally. Honestly, I really expected to talk about this on week 1 when the event went live. When the patch went live. But with all the stuff with Zombie Iron Man and the recent state of the game and turn of events with Contagion Corpse and all of that, I didn't really get around to talk about this. So what I want to do in the first half of the video is talk about the reworks that were done to Magneto and Psylocke and take a look at Dark Beast kit and my thoughts on it. And because I'm really excited for a raid team. Because Mutant's crap, right? You know, that's the negativity there, is that X-Men and the Mutant and Doom Raid is crap. So I'm looking forward to this. Now, we're probably, and I really hope, Dark Beast is not the December month-long event, but he might be. Anyways, we're going to take a look anyways. So we're going to take a look at the kit in the first half, and in the second half, we're going to take a look at the rework stats, what they were like before the patch, what they were like after the patch, and what Dark Beast stats are as it stacks up with everyone else. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. And oh, there I am. It takes a second now with the new filming method. So if you don't already use msf.gg, I highly recommend using this tool. They've updated the website. It runs a lot better. You can even check your milestones in the store, the stuff that you would see on marvelstrikeforce.com, the web store and all that. You can do it by this website, and it does run a lot faster, for better or for worse. Now, we do need to talk about the updated characters and the new characters. So we're going to start off with talking about Psylocke, and she, on the surface, looks like the Scarlet Witch of the team. So I'll just run down this really quick, and it's pretty simple, frankly. And when we talk about Dark Beast, I think the ISO that you're going to want to have for all of your characters, for the most part, are going to be Striker. Because Dark Beast, this team is like raiding Infinity Watch. So Dark Beast has a very similar mechanic to Nebula, where he's going to be assisting a lot. So he's going to be the skirmisher, and everyone else probably is going to be the striker. That way you can get a follow-up attack, because they're assisting non-stop. And we'll see that when we get to Dark Beast. Now, she does apply defense down for 2 turns on the primary, so that's not too bad if you have a striker as well, and then you can follow up with that, so that's kind of neat too. Her special, which is on a low cooldown, does piercing damage, applies bleed, chains around a bunch of times, and applies more bleed to them, and it can clear 3 positive status effects. Now, the unfortunate part is that counterattacks do break this chain, so you can't just keep going, you have to be conscious about that. But in raids, it does clear immunity, if any of them have it, before clearing other positive effects. Now, I don't know off the top of my head, because I don't run Mutant very often, if there's any instances where that is important, at least in Doom Raid 3. Let me know in the comments down below if you know. I just don't run these nodes. Astral Butterfly is her ultimate, which, you know, chucks back negative status effects. We know that from, like, having to fight Psylocke in the past in other areas of the game. This does transfer all negative effects if they're Deathseed as well. It does piercing damage, and now newly reduces speed bar by 25%. So that's kind of nice, and it can't miss. Low cooldown, so that's cool. Her passive now just basically gains all of the stuff to Deathseed. So you also get on Spawn. I thought it was on Spawn, no? No? Deathseed allies gain evade, counter... Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know what I'm blind. Sorry, guys. Yeah, my glasses are off, right? I can't... Clearly, Deathseed allies gain evade, counter, and deflect on spawn. So that's good. And then, of course, we've got the 50% health shenanigans. So that'll be very nice for them to go up and over and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of, like, Incredible Hulk, but, you know, this is just in raids. So evade and counter every time they go up and over 50%. And then 1,000% resistance against disrupted. So that's good, too. Now, just for her, though. So she needs to apply this stuff to herself, so to keep her alive. Let's talk about Magneto. Oh, so as far as gearing goes, I mean, you saw at the start of the video here, I'm basically going to do this. I just haven't clicked the button yet, but I will do it. So that's on my schedule. I've already done it for Magneto. He's ready to go. Psylocke, almost there, but she is level 90, so I'm basically almost there. And this is what I'm waiting for. This is everything I'm waiting for this patch. Magneto. Now, he got a pretty sizable rework, and what I like about his assist info is that now he can prolong negative effects by 1 on each target, which is including the striker attack. So this will also be the striker attack, which is very nice. So even if he's using other skills, the basic, you do need a T4 for this one though, to get the prolong of the negative stats effects. So that's really important to make sure that you have on Magneto when you start using him in raids. You don't need to do it right now, but make sure you do grab that before the whole team is put together. It does chain for piercing damage. So, 20% piercing on the first attack, and then more. Oh, sorry, this is the same. I don't know what I was talking about. Hits 3 people. So what's nice though is that all of the characters that he hits with that though is going to get the prolong of the negative stats effects. He does have some really long cooldowns, especially on his ult, but his special, we know that this clears all positive effects. Apply disrupt and slow for 2 turns, and then in raids applies ability block for 2 turns. Great, we need more ability block, and mutants had no ability block. And this is why it was so challenging for using them, because they had no real way to stop a lot of powerful characters from using their attacks. It's unavoidable and cannot be blocked. So this pretty much should land, no problem, because he gets additional focus as well. This is pretty much the same, right? He just pulls them all in, blinds them. It's basically what you're going to open up with. It's unavoidable, so that's fine, nothing new there. But his passive is now extending everything to Deathseed. Also the spawn bar, speed bar as well. So he's going to be going first because he's going to get a massive amount of speed bar. Now he is kind of slow, and we'll take a look at that when we look at the stats. But I'm really looking forward to this. And then on enemy crit, apply speed up to self and all Brotherhood and Deathseed allies. So if he gets hit, when he gets hit, right? And then all of this stuff gets transferred over. So Deathseed allies get 10,000% resistance against taunt, 60% resistance, 60% focus, and 30% max health. So lots of good stats here. I'm very curious to see what kind of other stats the other characters give. I think you're probably going to see a damage stat on probably one of the characters, or even Archangel that's not out yet. In raids on spawn, if you have 4 or more, so you need the full team. So even though Psylocke is kind of Garbo-ish, you're going to have to run her because, well, you need the full team for Magneto to get this part of his passive, which gives him 5 ability energy for himself at the start of the match. And also fill speed bar for extra speed bar for himself and for the Deathseed allies to kind of make sure that they're probably going to go first. So very important there. Now, Dark Beast. He is going to be your controller and probably de facto healer as well. He has a very good assist. So he's going to be assisting a lot from his passive, and he applies 2 bleed, offense down for 2 turns, and heal block for 2 turns per assist. That's bonkers. His basic applies bleed, and he does basically all of that you just saw in the assistant info. So when this character performs a counterattack or assist, it basically regurgitates that, but it just clarifies that that's what's going to happen. Very, very good skill there. Mad Chemist on a cooldown of 6. In raids, summon a clone of the primary target. This clone scales with Dark Beast stats. Clone gains taunt for 1 turn and defense up for 2 turns. So the clone is kind of tanking, whether you want to or not, depending on who you're cloning. It's going to happen, and he's going to have defense up. Now you apply defense up to the rest of the Deathseed allies, so that's fine too. Also calling in people for damage. And then you revive if any of them happen to be dead. Hopefully they're not, but if they are, then they'll revive a Deathseed ally. And then applies 2 regeneration for 2 turns to all Deathseed allies in raids. Very good raid skill. Don't expect this to be very powerful outside of raids. He's not going to clone outside of raids, so he is definitely a raid character. However, a very good one. His ultimate on a cooldown of 4 in raids. Again, lots of raid text, but still very, very powerful. Flip 3 positive effects into negative effects on primary and adjacent targets for the enemies, and then apply ability block for 2 turns to the primary target. So now already we have 2 ability blocks, one with Magneto, one with Dark Beast. Attack primary target and adjacent for 300% and bleed for 2 turns, and then counter to all Deathseed allies. And keep in mind, of course, if they hit Dark Beast, he's got this part of his basic that says on counterattack or assist. So he's going to be counterattack for those negative stats effects. Now his passive. These following effects are negated if this character has ability block, so you don't want an ability block on Dark Beast. While this character or any Deathseed ally has defense up, they gain 50% armor. In raids, while this character or any Deathseed ally has offense up, they gain 50% damage. In raids, speed up gives 50% speed for a speed-based, turn-based game. That is crazy. So anytime that Magneto gets critical hit or whatever, and he gives speed up to everyone else, everyone's getting turbocharged. It's absolutely bonkers. And he gains 25% assist chance per Deathseed ally. So with the full team, he's assisting every single time. It's basically Nebula. On turn, flip one positive effect into a negative effect on a non-summoned enemy with the highest speed. Don't know why it's specifying highest speed necessarily. Doesn't matter. In Raids, this is 3 positive effects and then 50% chance to apply blind. Now that is only a 50% chance, but still very, very strong there. He's going to get additional focus from Magneto. So really looking forward to this. I'm going to be saving my power cores. That's exactly what I'm doing. You guys may have seen my current power core numbers, almost at 13,000. I swear, if Dark Beast does not have a power core orb, I'm going to lose it. But hopefully he does. That way I can blow my power cores and get him unlocked that way, because if he is a month-long event, then at least I'll be able to get him unlocked a little bit early. Second part of the video, I want to talk about the stats. Now, for Magneto and Psylocke, this is before and after. So you can see in the column here on the left-hand side, these are his old stats and his old ratings. And so as far as his stat ranks go, they were pretty bad. You know, his health was like pretty much near the end here. You can see that here. And with damage, it was not very good. It was in the latter half. His resistance was pretty poor. His armor and focus were okay, but still that's pretty bad for like Magneto, right? For being a legendary character. Now though, look at the jump. 48% bump on health, 33 damage, 4% armor, 29% focus, 50% resistance, and how that kind of is now on the stats table. He's top 40 in health, top 25 in damage, top 60 in armor. His armor didn't really move much. Number 2 in focus in the game, and number 3 resistance in the game. A lot of this has to do with his passive, though. So the increased stats alongside the passive, 60% resist, focus, and 30% max health to himself and all of the team members. Speed is still pretty poor, though. He is 90, and actually that's some of the worst in the game. But he has a lot of speed bar shenanigans. He gets speed up when he gets critical hit, and then with the Dark Beast passive, that really, really helps. So some really, really great buffs to Magneto. Psylocke. Now you can see also she was pretty effing terrible on her old ratings. She was almost in the last 25% of all characters in almost every single stat except for focus. She was in the last half for damage as well. So you can take a look at the numbers here. There's about like 220 characters or something like that. So as far as the numbers here, that's pretty bad. Anything in red basically means it's pretty bad. But the new ratings are better. Now, she's not meant to be like the pinnacle of health, but she's on par with Vision. So put that into perspective with the Bionic Avengers, that, you know, they get some health passives and stuff, so Vision's, you know, he survives, right? You know, if you have a big Vision, he survives. And that's what's going to happen with Psylocke. Like, it's fine. It's not very high, but with the other passive, it should be fine. Now, her damage, though, got bumped up to a top 25 damage stat, similar to Deathlock. What's really interesting, though, is that Deathlock also has, like, bleed mechanics on his special. He does give offense up, but I'm wondering what this will mean for the bleed damage that comes from Psylocke from her special. This might actually be a little bit better than I think it is. We'll see when we get the full team together and how it actually functions. It could be like, kind of like Spider-Punk. You know how like Spider-Punk is really good in raids, but it kind of is really garbage outside of raids? That could be something like Psylocke when you start seeing her actually attack people with the full team. Who knows? Her armor stats not very good, equivalent to old Cap, 77 in the game. Also, focus and resistance are pretty good. Top 30 for focus and 35 for resistance. So some pretty decent stat increases compared to where they came from, but her speed is still garbage and makes her a little bit worse than Magneto as far as speed, because Magneto has other ways to get his speed bar up, whereas Psylocke doesn't really. So she's still pretty slow, and you're really going to be relying on that the passive from Magneto, but also the passive of Dark Beast to make them even faster. 93 speed is pretty poor. But I already said that here, so we'll find out what ends up happening when we get the full team. Now, Dark Beast didn't have, obviously, old stats, and I do want to mention, I should have said this earlier, all of this is taken into consideration. Level 85, 7 yellow, 5 red, blue ISO 2, gear tier 15, Stark Tech 25%. I'll change this at some stage down the line. And yes, I understand, you're not going to have a 7 yellow, 5 red Dark Beast. That's not going to happen. But for the other rework characters, this very much is a possibility. Also, Dark Beast unique is Oz formula, or whatever the experimental serum, the name that it was changed to afterwards, you know, the spider formula crap. Now his stats are pretty average. Top 50 in health, 70 in damage, 119 in armor. His focus is good. That's great, because on top of and this is without the Magneto passive, so with the Magneto passive, it's going to be really good. The resistance is 68, and he has a speed of 92. A speed of 113. It's a little bit above half of the roster, so it's okay. Again, they have a lot of speed shenanigans, so hopefully that's less of an issue. So he will receive a ton of buffs from Magneto from the passive to bump up these very mediocre stats to something a little bit better. And with the with the assists that he's going to give to everyone else, I think that's where a lot of his value is going to lie, on top of his actual kit. But he's going to be doing things like allowing everyone else to strike or attack on their turn. So that's going to be additional damage. And also Dark Beast has an amazing basic. I can't really stress that enough. So he's going to be applying offense down, heal block, and bleed on all of those assists that he does on everyone else's turn. We don't even know who's coming around the corner with Archangel and whoever the fifth member is. It doesn't even matter. This team is going to be good. This team is going to be worth building. And if you haven't started on it now, make sure that you're doing this or starting early, because that way you don't have to do it later down the line when they're all coming out and you're kind of a bit stressed out about having to put them together. So that's what I've done with my roster. You guys should do the same, at least prepare a little bit. So that's the end of this video. Let me know in the comments down below how excited you are for Deathseed and who you might think that fifth character will be for the team. Let's theory craft some thoughts in the comments down below. That's the end of the video, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all later. Boilon signing out.